Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Tristan Barrocks here, the digital storyteller, and I am excited to be here for another Monday stream. Monday stream. What are the live stream Mondays about? Well, live stream Mondays are, simply put, a great way for me to talk to you and to figure out exactly what you want to talk about and some of the things that you want to learn. Also, it's a way for me to kind of share and showcase some of the great things that are happening in my career, in my journey as a digital storyteller, and just in life in general, because I am a guy, I'm a dude, and I like to have a lot of fun, and I love to be in constant contact with the community. I think that it's really important that if you even have a measure of success within this industry, within life, it's your responsibility to kind of give back in a lot of different ways. So first of all, how's everybody doing out there? I see a few of you guys watching right now. Now, here's the thing. First of all, if this is going to happen, if this is going to work, if the energy is going to be hype, because I'm the hype man for your life, and I'm just the hypest guy you probably know. I got to get interactions. I got to see, I got to hear from you. If you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing, give a thumbs up. But not only that, ask a question, leave a comment. Let me know that you can hear, you can see, and you are experiencing something in this live stream. So that's the first rule. The second rule, which is not really a rule at all, is that I will be going through a few things with regards to just some of the new things that are happening within my business, within the community, the digital storytelling community, and beyond. So at any point in time, you can always ask a question, and if I have a chance to answer your questions at the end of this video or this stream, I will. If I cannot answer those questions in this live stream because maybe it's over time, then I will send you a message, or I will figure out another way to answer that question for you. So that being said, first things first, I want to tell you a few amazing things that are happening within the digital storytelling community. And for me, first things first is I am actually launching or relaunching my website. So I did a little facelift to my website. And it is actually looking quite nice. I'm actually really excited about some of the new layouts and the way that I'm presenting my stories on my website. So if you have any opportunity to check out my website, just go to www.tristanbarrocks.com. That's www.tristanbarrocks.com. And like always, it's a place where you can learn, create, and share, just like this community. The other things that are happening is I just uploaded two new series, I would say. One is called the digital storytelling for educators and professionals. Now, digital storytelling for educators and professionals is a session that is geared towards teachers, geared towards administrators, geared towards any sort of professionals that are really kind of shy about, being in front of the camera, maybe using technology as a way to educate people, as a way to enhance yourself as a professional. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I am a big advocate for using the tools that you have to educate, inspire, and tell your story. Okay, so if your only tool that you have is a phone like this, a smartphone, or it's an iPad, I want you to feel empowered about using those tools to tell your story, or tell the story of somebody else or somebody that you think would impact an audience that you're presenting in front of. So this particular presentation, digital storytelling for educators and professionals, is all about that. It's all about using the tools that you have to inspire, enrich, and enhance the experience of your target audience as a professional, as an educator, and as a professional. The other presentation that I just uploaded to YouTube is the one I did when I was at the last Coterie retreat in Bahamas, beautiful Bahamas. Let me tell you something. I gotta look at you for this one. Let me tell you something. Bahamas is a beautiful place. Nassau is a beautiful island. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to share a 20-minute sort of piece or thought, I would say, about the power of making authentic connections. I'm just going to throw up the slide here again. The power of making authentic connections, or the power of authentic connections, is a session that is for every type of person. This is a session that will give you tools to maximize your ability to make an impact and to find ways to connect with people that you may want to work with, you may want to build with, you may want to get mentorship from. It will give you tools, and it will give you a toolkit, I would say, that will allow you to kind of understand the ebbs and the flows of building real, authentic relationships. It's not about, a lot of people, they go to conferences, brunches, and things to that nature, and they think handing out their business card is all you need to do. And it's even worse for creatives, whether it's filmmakers, whether it's actors, whether it's writers. We tend to be introverted. We tend to be all about sort of the craft. And the reality is that you really have to be about both the craft and the business. And the business part is not necessarily just the administrative, the budgeting, all that sort of stuff to get your productions done, but it's also about how do I now make the build connections and make the relationships and foster the relationships that I need so that I can create what I see and what I'm dreaming to create and what I'm writing down on paper. Because the biggest thing as a creative are two major things. Number one, getting in front of the right people. And number two, getting the funding that you need to get the project that you want to get done. So, at the end of the day, this session, I think, is for everybody. It's for all types of people. It essentially, it is a networking type of session, but it's networking with a purpose and with a cause and without selling yourself. I don't believe in selling yourself. I believe in telling about yourself, meaning share your story, share your why, be authentic, be grounded, and more people, or at least the right people, will be drawn to you and connected to you. So that's what that session is about. And this is actually just I'm just going to play a little snippet for you with regards to what I said in that session, and then we'll jump on to the main topics for today. And Bobby, when I was younger, he would always say, "Hey, Tristan, you have to understand, the Bible says," he says in Jamaican, "the Bible says that it's more blessed to give than receive." And I'm like, I don't know if I believe that, Dad. He's like, what do you talk about? I said, because I love receiving Mom's korogo and oxtail and jerk chicken and fried rice and bami and boiled dumpling. I like receiving that, Dad, so I don't understand that. But years later, I started to get what he meant by that. And simply put, if you're able to give of yourself, your time, skills, resources, it feels so good because you're in a place of building somebody else's dream up, and building them up and giving them an opportunity that others have given you, right? We have a responsibility that when we get to another level, when we level up, to send the elevator back down. It doesn't matter, listen, if you're on the lobby level, there's P1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How are we sending it back down, all right? So that's just a little snippet of the power of making authentic connections. Again, it's about a 25-minute video, and I think that it would be really, really beneficial for you. It's on my YouTube channel, as well as the first session I spoke about, which is digital storytelling for educators and professionals. So check those videos out, like, share, subscribe, and do all that nice stuff. But on to the main reason why we're here. Now, live stream Mondays are really designed for me to get questions from you and to answer them as true and as honest as possible. And I think that is really important as we're building this community and as I'm building this channel, to really be able to hear sort of the ideas that you have and some of the struggles that you have, or some of the things that you're trying to do as a creative and as a digital storyteller. So that being said, let me just jump over here. There we go. Yes, so I'm just checking some of your some of your comments right now. I see Will up in the chat here. What's up, Will Ramirez? But he says, what does he say here? Let's throw it up here. Badman live stream. Thank you very much, Will. We also have, who do we have here? Let me just clear here. We have Tesla. FPV, Tesla FPV. Thank you so much for the love. Appreciate that. Appreciate the comments. But let's jump into the first question. So the first question is, Hey, bro. Let me just read it over here so I can get it exactly right. Hey, bro. Storytelling question. We live in a world of stories. In fact, life is a narrative. Even the Bible is written in a narrative format, a collection of stories that tell the story of God. Okay. First question. As a storyteller, what practical and intentional things help to make a story riveting? That's a great question, and that's from Jay. Jay was asking first questions first, which is, as a storyteller, what practical and intentional things help to make stories riveting? Now, I think the first thing that makes a story riveting is that a story has to have a level of purpose. Okay. Now, when I say a level of purpose, obviously there's a lot of stories. I mean, there's some of the greatest shows that we've watched, like Seinfeld. I'm just thinking about, was the show about nothing. So it that's more of an outlier than anything else. But for the most part, if you're trying to create a riveting story, something that is going to draw me in, something that I'm going to care about, something that you want a group of people to stop what they're doing in their busy schedule to watch or to listen or to hear, well, first and foremost, I really do believe that it has to be alive in you first. That's the first thing. Practically, is it a story that you care about? Because the moment that you care about it is the moment that you will then now convey that energy, that passion, and that drive to now send that message and tell that story to your audience. Have you ever watched videos on YouTube or on other channels and they almost seem lifeless or passionless? Like people are not excited about what they created. They just kind of created it because it's another check off of I guess a checklist or a to-do list. I know I have. I know I've watched videos where it's just like there's no passion, there's no intentionality, there's no sort of purpose behind it. And I think as a storyteller, the first practical and easy thing that you can do is tell stories or find stories that you are in love with, that inspire you, that are riveting to you, that you're passionate about. Number two, find stories that have purpose, that have some sort of meaning or message behind it. The whole reason for creating a story, in my opinion, is to give your viewer or give the person that's listening to the story another perspective. If you're not giving another perspective or a unique perspective, a unique take on this particular story or genre or this particular person's experience and voice, then what's the purpose? Why should I watch? So number one, why should I watch if you don't care about it, right? If you're not passionate about it, if it's not alive in you. But then number two, is it a story that has purpose in it? And if it is a story that has purpose in it, what sort of tools am I using to pull that out and bring it to its lowest common denominator? What do I mean by that? So there are people that can tell really elaborate stories, but they miss out on opportunities because they're not sensitive or paying attention to the audience that they're presenting it to. So for instance, great example, Black History Month is coming up next month. I'm going to be doing, hopefully, fingers crossed, a couple presentations at a couple elementary schools as well as middle schools. The way I present Black history, at least Black Canadian history, to kindergarten kids versus grade 8 students is drastically different. Why? Because I have to understand that they're at a different level, right? So I have to bring the same sort of message, distill it down to a place where each audience can get what they need to get out of it, or at least understand a perspective. So, for instance, a great example again of that is like if I'm talking about slavery, I probably won't talk about slavery with 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds, right? They won't understand that. It's probably better to talk about diversity and talk about acceptance and talking about sharing and caring and all that sort of stuff, right? This is a very, very simple example. With grade 8s, I can talk about the politics of it. I can talk about the economics of slavery. I can talk about, the fact that we have great Black Canadian leaders and great Black Canadian history. So again, going back to the question, which is practical. What are practical steps? First of all, it has to be alive in you. If it's not alive in you, truly alive in you, then what are we actually presenting, right? And why should I care about it? But then number two, it also has to have a level of purpose and something that will give the viewer a different or a unique perspective. And it could be the same story. It could be the Three Blind Mice or any other stories that are maybe really simple in nature, but it's the way that we change the perspective of it, right? Maybe it's Goldilocks, or maybe it's Red Riding Hood, Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf, right? One of my favorite movies is Hoodwinked, because it gives the perspective of the wolf, because nobody ever asked why the wolf is bad. Maybe the wolf wasn't bad. Maybe the wolf was just hungry, right? And maybe Goldilocks was the bad one, right? So, or Red Riding Hood was the bad one. But you follow me? It's just about really being intentional about how we handle the stories that we have, and not just putting things together, because a lot of times as creatives and as digital storytellers, we've built up the muscle mass to be able to just do things almost automatic, right? We can tell a story, we can shoot cool videos, we can get B-roll done, we can do a voiceover. There's your super easy and fast food version of a video. And it seems heartwarming and it seems really cool, but it's missing something. It's missing that level of intentionality. So I hope that answers the question. The other thing that you can do too is, like, a lot of times for myself, I write down a whole bunch of ideas, especially when I'm telling a story, a whole bunch of ways of telling a story. And the reason why I write down all of those types of ideas is because I want to get through all the crap, right? In alcohol, right? When you're creating an alcohol, there is something called a distillery or a distilling process, right? And that's the process of getting the purest version of whatever that alcoholic beverage you're trying to create. For me, one of my favorite beverages is white rum. And the reason why I love white rum is it's so pure and it has a certain type of flavor to it. And I think the only way you can get to sort of the white rum process of your storytelling is by going through all the crap and kind of scrapping all the paper, and throwing out all the ideas that don't work, but still throwing them out into the world or into the audience or some of your friends that may give you some good feedback, so then you know what works and what doesn't work. There's a part 2 to that question. Any questions about that? What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? Let me see what's going on here. Hold on for a minute here. Let me go. Give me a second here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see what Tesla's saying. Your opinion, Tristan Barrocks, please, on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K versus the Ecamm. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna answer that question in a second. I'm just gonna answer the second part of Jay's question, and then we have one other question, and I'll answer yours. Okay, is that cool? Just give me a thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up button if that's cool for you. Also, if you are watching this on a replay, just type in the comments replay. Hey Tristan, replay. What's up, digital storyteller? Replay. Hashtag replay. Whatever. Or hashtag replay. Hashtag the digital storyteller. Hashtag digital storytelling. Whatever you want to put down. All right. Let's check out the next question here, or the next part of the question. So, we are surrounded by incredible stories. What do you do to make sure you see them and don't walk by them? Okay, so that's a great question. So what Jay's actually asking is, there's incredible stories all around, right? But what do you do to make sure that you don't ignore the incredible stories that are all around and always seen, but a lot of times ignored? And I love this question because that's what happens to all of us. It happens to all of us all the time, right? As creatives, we get so lost in the minutia of just like the everyday slog, and being able to pump out content without actually thinking about, wow, there might be a story here. Like, for instance, I live up north, and the big story and the thing that people are talking about is the fact that we had an ice storm for the last 3 or 4 days. So this ice storm is like super 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 cool. It looks cool. It's super dangerous, but it also looks very 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 cool in a lot of different ways. And the thing that I sometimes get mad at myself about is not slowing down to actually appreciate the beauty of the ice and the icicles and the way the trees look and the way the leaves look and the way everything looks so almost like winter wonderland. You know what I mean? It looks like a winter wonderland. It looks like it reminds me a lot of Game of Thrones, where it's like winter's coming and the White Walkers are coming. It's that sort of idea. And I think the only way that you won't miss a story is by slowing down. Sometimes what I do is I'll kind of unplug from everything. And when I say unplug, I'll kind of just say, you know what? I've been in my studio for too long. I've been, editing for too long. I've been watching too many videos. I've been on too many different types of meetings and live streams. I need to just go outside and I just need to see what the world is. I need to just throw up my drone and see the world from a different perspective. I just need to go to this park. I need to go to this, I have a few favorite spots up north where I drive to a lot, where I just go and I just meditate and I think and I take time to actually see the story within the story. But you'll never be able to actually see those sort of stories within the stories, or those stories that get overlooked, if you don't slow down the process by which you do things. And what I mean by that is just being able to say, you know what, let me just enjoy this moment. Let me be present in this particular moment. Let me just take a picture of my kids. Let me just, last summer, I did a video, and it's on my YouTube channel. It's called Mangoes. And the whole reason why I did a video like that was because we purchased a whole bunch of mangoes that were on sale at the local grocery store. And the thing that was really interesting about it was that my kids were just so excited about these mangoes. They're just ripping these mangoes apart, tearing them apart. And I felt like I was doing so much work for other people and capturing other people's lives and weddings and whatever else. And I was like, this is a moment. We're eating mangoes. We're sitting out on the porch. We're eating mangoes. And I'm going to capture this moment. So I took out my FS5 and raw setup and raw camera. And I started to film and record. And I was just like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm recording my kids eating mangoes. And then my wife came out and she was eating mangoes. And then I went to eat a mango. And then I just edited that video. And that was a memory. That was now a family memory and a story of us spending time together. I use that example to say that there are so many of those opportunities and those moments within a span of a day. Even when I drop off my kids and I drive back home, sometimes I'll drive a different route and I'll walk with my camera and I'll just film nature. I'll film, birds. I'll film the trees. I'll film so many different things that will just be mundane by themselves, but then you add a nice score, you add some nice color correction, you add maybe some cool editing, and it changes the whole dynamics of that thing and that story. All right, let's move on to the last question, or the second last question that was pre-selected here. So, what tells stories more effectively? Detail shots or wide shots? What do you guys think? Detail shots, wide shots. What tells a story more effectively? For me personally, I think that's actually a trick question. And the reason why I think that's a trick question is because really and truthfully, you need both. You need wide shots, you need detailed shots, you need up close shots, you need medium shots, you need a whole variety of shots to tell stories, right? our life is not just one giant wide shot, right? 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 Imagine if we were telling the story of our lives and everything was a giant wide shot. Imagine if we were watching a movie, Avengers 8, and everything was a giant wide shot. I mean, that would not be that for me. That wouldn't make much sense. But let's see what you're saying. I'm eager to see what you're saying here. Let me see here. Will Ramirez says, depends on the story. Okay, elaborate a little bit, Will, because I mean, again, like, what tells a better story, wide or detailed shots, right? That's the question. I don't think that it's either or. I think it's both. But if you think wide tell better stories or tell the story better than detail shots, why and why not? I'd love to know that. Let's see O'Shane here. Big up. Hey O'Shane, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Let's see what Will's saying here. Comedy lives in the wide shot. That's true. I agree with you there. Comedies are all in the wide shot because, especially when it comes to physical humor, it needs to be, the physicality needs to be there, the emotion needs to be there. But also too, I mean, if you look at some of the funniest movies that I can think of just off the top of my head, a lot of the shots were like medium shots, close shots. I think about Jim Carrey. I think about, Liar Liar, when he's in the courtroom and he's trying to tell a lie, and there's like the medium to close shot, right? That's not a wide shot. Now, obviously, there's variations because it's a theatrical film, but no, I hear what you're saying. Any other thoughts on that, guys? What do you guys think? When you're telling a story, what shots are better to tell a story? Wide shots or detail shots? Would love to hear your thoughts. And even if you're watching this again for the first time at another time, just type in your questions or type in what you think. I would love to hear what you think about it, right? I would love to hear what you think about it. But for me, I personally think that it's not just wide, and I don't think that it's close shots. I think it's both. I think you have to use a variety of different shots to tell a cohesive and coherent story, right? It's not just going to be one or the other. Will, what else what are you saying here, Will? Oh, hey, how you doing? Big Fish, how you doing? Big ups to you too. Oh, let's see here. I love those epic wide shots that you see in someone like Christopher Nolan use. Yeah, well, Christopher Nolan loves that. I mean, there's also wide shots like in most of our favorite adventure films, like Indiana Jones, right? Spielberg was known to use I think it was like a 28 millimeter or a 24 millimeter for it was a 21 millimeter for most of Indiana Jones movies, right? So you have like it starts from close and then it goes all the way to wide, and it's epic. It's something that we're used to, right? And then obviously Christopher Nolan with his, like, every one of his shots are like, they seem like they're painted canvases by some sort of graphic novel designer and artist. Bottom line, there are no rules. This is Will Ramirez. This is Mr. Will Ramirez here saying, bottom line, there are no rules. Being a filmmaker is deciding which shot best supports your story. Ding, 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 ding. I agree with that. I think that you have to know your creative voice. Right? It's okay as you're growing into the art of filmmaking and storytelling and digital storytelling to kind of follow a certain pattern or a certain template because you like Christopher Nolan or you like a Scorsese or you like, a Ryan Coogler. But at a certain point, you have to find your own voice within the scope and within sort of the world of filming and digital storytelling. You have to find your own style and your own voice. Let's see what else people are saying here. We got Arthur Creative. Let's see. Wides to establish the scene, close up for very important details, and mediums for meat and potatoes type of scenes. Okay. Yeah, that's very practical. That's very pragmatic, and I think a lot of times what I do, especially when I'm teaching other people or I'm talking to other people that are working with me, I always say macro to macro to micro, meaning, get your establishing, get your mediums, get your close-ups, get your tights, get your details, right? Micro or macro to to macro to micro. That's the whole idea, macro to micro. So I get what you're saying, Arthur. I love that that you're contributing to the conversation. That's great. Well, listen, I mean, this has been awesome. Is there any questions that you have for me? Not any questions, but questions relating to digital storytelling. I would love to answer any of your questions that you have. But if you don't have any questions, you can always hit me up, DM me, and I promise you that I will take a look at it. And if it is a dope question, I will include it in my next live stream Mondays. So let me know. What's up? Oh, Will, it looks like somebody else has something else here. Will says, being a director is guiding the experience of the viewer. Sometimes that is wide shots that convey vast space or make the scene look epic. Sometimes that's close-up shots and detail shots, or to show the details. Sorry. That's exactly right. So again, it's going back to your original point, which is you gotta just be able to tell the story that you want to tell with the tools that you have, both physically but also in your brain, right? Actually, I think for next week, one of the topics I really want to tackle is, what tools are you using outside of the physical tools to tell stories and to be a dope filmmaker and a digital storyteller? Because one of the things I noticed with a lot of creatives is that we get really excited and we get really enthusiastic about using new gear, dope gear, new cameras, 4K, 8K, RAW, bit, 10-bit, 12-bit, all this sort of stuff. But we don't always sharpen our skills and our toolkit up here, and how we're actually going to tell the story and communicate it in a visual way. So I love what you're saying. I love what everybody's saying here. Listen, man, this has been a great live. I'm super excited about where this is going to go. Again, this is going to be happening every Monday evening between 7:30, 7:45, depending on, I'm a father, okay? I'm just going to let you know. I'm a father. I got to take care of kids, right? Got to make dinner. But I promise you it'll be every Monday evenings. And if Mondays don't work well, then we'll definitely look at other slots in the week that might work better for the community. But I think this is really cool. We had about 5 or 6 people locked in, jumping in. Man, I appreciate you guys. Let's do this. Let's stay creative. Let's stay positive, and let's stay blessed. Until the next time, peace.